Salve, we're continuing this interchange between Aeneas and Dido, 467 to 471 in this video. Talibus Aeneas ardentet torvatuentem lenibat dictis animum lacrimasque quiebat. Aeneas, our subject, and the verb softened, lenibat. Normally this would be leniebat, but Vergil has taken a little liberty here and taken out a syllable to make it fit the meter. It's a fourth conjugation, so leniebat would be expected, but it's lenibat. He's done this elsewhere in the Aeneid. Same kind of thing with other verbs. Aeneas softened animum, her soul. Now this is Dido's soul. This is the accusative of what he's softening. And we have two present active participles that modify soul, ardentem and tuentem. So read like this: Aeneas softened her soul, comma, burning and observing him. You got to put in grim, or we could make it an adverb, grimly. So ardentem goes with animum, and tuentem also goes with animum. And torva is an accusative plural, neuter form that is, in essence, an object of tuentem. We could take it that way. Another addition I looked at, the editor said you could take it as an accusative of effect as well. So the idea is Aeneas softened her soul, burning, meaning burning with anger, ira, and looking grim at him. Looking grimly at him is the idea. Talibus dictis, with such words. And we say the talibus dictis because he just ended his address. So let's say it one more time. With such words, Aeneas softened her soul, burning and observing, and it means him, grim or grimly. One addition I had said to compare the English phrase, which I was not familiar with before, looking daggers at him. The idea that the looking takes the object daggers, and I like that little image for this. It's kind of puts a nice picture in my mind, looking daggers at him. She's looking at him with grimness. The same edition also commented that this is a really nice touch here, that Vergil links the soul with a participle observing, because really it's like her soul has eyes looking at Aeneas. So it really brings the two close. Even though she's angry at him, her soul is observing him directly. This is the eyes of her soul here. And remember, these are present active participles here in the accusative case because they modify the soul of Dido, animum. So they're masculine singular accusatives. And this is lacrimas que quiebat, and the que, he quiebat, he aroused lacrimas, tears. So quiebat, lacrimas, that's the accusative, the direct object of quiebat. Again, another indication that Aeneas genuinely loves Dido, that he is moved to tears at this scene and after addressing her. Illa solo fixos oculos aversa tenebat, nec magis incepto vultum sermone movetur, quam si dura silexaut stet marpesia cautes. illa, that one, meaning feminine one, or she. That one, it means Dido, of course. Tenebat, held. And awersa also goes with illa, those modified. So let's say it this way. That one, meaning Dido, turned away, held her eyes fixed on the ground. So we have oculos fixos. We've got a nice chiasmus going on here with illa and around oculos fixos. And then ablative solo on the ground. Now this is a reversal from a line that we had in Book 4. Again, you might remember after Dido made a very imploring speech to Aeneas, this was Aeneas that was standing looking away. Now Aeneas has made a speech to Dido, and she's the one turned away looking. If you remember from Book 4, 331, it said, Ille Iovis munitis imota tenebat lumina. We'll use the word tenebat again, and lumina for oculos. He, holding the warning of Jupiter, held his eyes imota, held his eyes unmoving. So we had imota for fixos, and lumina for oculos, and tenebat. So very parallel passage, but ironic that now Dido's the one looking away instead of Aeneas being the one that was looking away in Book 4. Or standing still with his eyes, not looking at the other person. Nec magis incepto vultum sermone movetur. Nec and not movetur, move, from moe or movere. Now this is a passive form, but we're going to translate it actively because we are translating it as if it is a middle voice. Latin doesn't have the middle voice much. It's either usually active or passive. But this is something we might call a Greekism. Vergil's borrowing this construction of language from Greek and doing a middle sense here. So he can take an object with it. So let's read it like this. And she does not move her face more, and this more is going to come in with this next part here, which is a comparison. And she does not move her face more incepto sermone. Now this is the ablative absolute, with his speech having been begun. So these are ablatives right here, sermone incepto, with his speech having been begun. And movetur is our verb, translating it in an active sense and taking this accusative. Movetur is taking this as its object. I'm putting an arrow here. Usually in Latin we would say she's not moved by the expression, by his face. We would use the ablative. But doing this passive voice here now with an accusative object, it's a Greekism. She is not moved. She has not moved her face with his speech having been begun. Now, if you look at far, he has another explanation for it. He calls it an accusative of respect. So you could say that as well. I looked at a couple different editions here. So accusative of respect also does not move his face. She does not move her face, or she is not moved with respect to her face. So either way, you get the same meaning, but you could think of it in that way too. Now we have magis, more than if, and now we got this comparison here. More than if hard rock, dura silex, or flint, hard flint, or out Marpesia cautes, or Marpesian rock. Cautes could be a rock or a cliff. More than if hard flint or a Marpesian cliff. Stet, stood, or should stand. And by stand, it means est, than if she were hard flint or Marpesian cliff. So there's a couple nice images going on here if you look at the words a little more closely. Marpesus was a mountain in Paros, where Parian marble comes from, which the Romans would have been acquainted with, which has a very glossy sort of a quality to it. So it's as if Dido is somewhat glowing or shiny here as a ghost. If she is Marpesian marble, Marpesian rock, because Parian marble comes from that area. And then also the word stet is more colorful, I think, than est, because it literally, she's standing still, like a cliff or like a rock, not moving. And if it just said est, then that's a little more general. This is a more specific image here, that she is standing still, just like hard flint would stand or Marpesian cliff would stand. One more time with the Latin. Talibus aeneas ardentet dorvatuentem lenibat dictis animum lacrimasque quiebat. Illa solo fixos oculos aversa tenebat. Nec magis incepto vultum sermone movetur. Quam si dura silex aut stet Marpesia cautes.